There's one thing I don't really like about a fresh Laravel application, and that is if we look at the views, we'll start to see uses of, this is a really bad example. Here we go. See uses of this underscore underscore function that will accept a string in it. And this is Laravel's translation helper function. But the problem is the way this works just isn't really great. And I've written a whole article about how to handle translated text in your source code. And I talk about how applications by default might do something like this, where you pass through the actual text that you want to display into this function, and then this function can figure out if there's a translation available in the application. But it falls apart really, really quickly. And I'll come down to an example here, where you'll see, this is a good example. So in this case, we've got two different sections where we're translating the text name, but in Chinese, this comes out as two different things. You need different words to describe someone's personal name and a team or an organization's name. So if you're handling your translations like this in your application, it's going to fall apart really, really quickly. And to be honest, I think 99% of applications don't use translations at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for any case that has this underscore underscore parentheses, any places where these functions are being used. So I'm going to go through and I am just going to start to delete these functions, so we're just passing through the plain raw text. So bear with me a moment. I'm going to go through and do all of these. Whew, that was a lot. And I've now removed that translation function from the majority of the views in the application, but there's a few left that I just want to go over. In this case, across both of these, we're using this function inside an attribute for a blade component. And blade component syntax, if you have a colon in front of the attribute name, it will actually invoke the PHP inside that value. We don't really want that here because we're going to be removing these entirely, so we'll make sure to remove that colon from the start. Now, that should work exactly as we expect. The other one that I've left here for us, though, is this one that says auth.password. And this is actually the way that translations should be being dealt with. If you have Laravel IDEA in PHP Storm, or if you're using the Laravel extension in VS Code, you should just be able to click through and follow the link to see exactly where this translation is coming from. In this case, it's coming from a translation file called auth.php, and the key in that array is password. So auth.password is coming from auth.php key password. And in this case, because we're trying to get rid of this, we can just copy the value directly from here into here. But if you were dealing with translations in your application, this is the way you should do it. You should be using string keys, not putting the raw text in there. So I'm not telling you to not translate your application. If you're doing that, absolutely. Just make sure you're doing it right, because otherwise you're going to be in for a world of pain later down the line when you realize the default way that the Laravel starters use it just don't work in practice.